in the pregame. We are about to start this. How's everyone doing? On this workshop, we have chat. Please don't be afraid to use it. How's everyone doing tonight? Hello? How's everyone doing? How are you feeling this beautiful December evening? In California, it's been really cold, and today is the first day where it's felt like, oh my gosh, there is some warmth in the world, and it feels good. How's everyone doing tonight? Let me know in the chat. We're going to be talking a lot about artwork. We're going to be talking a lot about Photoshop. We're going to talk about what it's like to be an artist a little bit. In fact, let's start with that right now. So one of the reasons that I feel that being an artist is so important is because art is first and foremost a form of communication. And each of us has an important thing that we want and need to say to the world, one in which we feel seen, others see us, and we get to share value that way. I see okay, people in the chat are starting to hop in. I see, oh my gosh, there's a Gian. Did I get that right? Or is it Jean? Is it French? Let me know. She says, good morning from CT. And, it says actually good evening. Well, a very good evening to you as well. And I hope you are doing great. Where's everyone from? Let me know. Olivia's, can you guys not hear me? Olivia says she can't hear, but if you can hear, let me know. Technically, you should be able to hear me. Michelle says, hi from Arizona. I stayed at the most wonderful resort. I think it's called the Phoenician. I used to go down there all the time. Michelle says, I can hear. Oh, thank heavens, because I don't want to have to troubleshoot while we're on this call. I want this all to be about art and about Photoshop and about blending. And Real AM says, good. Texas is good. I love Texas. Where was I? I visited family there a little while ago. I love Texas. The barbecue is excellent. And okay, so it sounds like we can hear me fine. We're going to be talking until 6:05. So really, if you want to benefit from my attention and my expertise in artwork, if you ask a question, I'm going to answer it before we get into the bulk of this lesson in about 5 minutes. If you didn't know, I make artwork like that, and I like to start any sort of presentation with a little bit of show and tell. So this is something I've been working on. I don't know how well you guys can see it, but I made a card game literally out of my art. And it's about self-care. It's about mind-to-mind battle. And you can literally take the things that you can create and literally leverage them somewhere else. These are all pieces of my artwork. Let's see here. Lots of different cards. That isn't what this call is about, but I just love starting with a little bit of show and tell. I can see other people are coming in. I make artwork like this. This is a card game I made on my artwork. A little astronaut, sort of like folding dimensions. Oh, fun story about this. And by the way, we're going to be starting in about 4 minutes. So I just want to say thank you for everyone who has joined so far. We're going to have an amazing time. Make sure that you have your water, your tea, whatever you drink, because we're going to be talking about art, and it is going to be beautiful, and it is going to be exciting, and we are going to find out how to blend different photos. How to blend different photos together. Okay, I'm going to take a look at the chat. Says Jose. Okay. Brianna says, will this be recorded? I don't know. I'm going to have to ask my team, but if I get enough people in the chat asking, I will make an effort to see if there's some way that I can get it online. Jose says, the things you would be teaching, are they applicable to photography? My friend, Jose, they are directly applicable to photography. We are literally talking about lighting. We're talking about color. We're talking about contrast. We're talking about continuity, which is basically making things, putting them together in a way that feels photorealistic and tangible. Real AM says, very nice. Are you selling them? In reference to the cards. I will be selling these, but I'll be real with you guys. These are literally the first time anyone in the world has seen these before. So I'm a huge fan of, being an artist and expressing yourself, but also taking the things that you learn and moving them into new categories of learning and study. Jose has followed up with the question, portrait photography specifically. Yes. So to answer your earlier question, for anyone who missed Jose's questions, they asked the things that they would be teaching, are they applicable to photography? And then he followed up with portrait photography specifically. The answer is yes, because what we're learning is really about the fundamentals of photography and artwork, like lighting, color, tone, contrast, detail, sharpness, all that stuff. And so the way that it would apply directly to portrait photography is specifically that you want to make sure that if you put anything other in a portrait or edit anything specifically, you want everything that you have together to kind of tie well together. Jose says, the biggest reason I'm here is I wish to prevent the 3D effect when masking and changing the background. I'm not quite sure what that means, but you're going to, and in fact, you know what I should be doing right now? Let's talk about what we're going to be working on. So I woke up in the middle of the night and at like 3 a.m. and I was like, I just had this idea come into my mind. What would it look like if we created a piece of artwork that was like you were surfing or like snowboarding the Aurora Borealis? Because Aurora Borealis is one of the most beautiful sort of natural phenomenons that literally on Earth. In about 1 minute, we're going to dive into a presentation. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and sort of like the thinking behind my work, and then we're going to dive straight into the lesson. And I'm really excited for all of you to be here. Thank you for everyone who's made an effort to show up. I really appreciate it. And Gian, one last question he has, can you use Photoshop Elements? And the answer is yes, although Photoshop Elements has some restrictions. So that's something that you want to bear in mind. Okay. First of all, my name is Lumi. I'm an artist. I've been an artist I've lost count of the years, since 2007, whenever that is. And I've done a lot of amazing things. I've created over 500 pieces of artwork, and let's actually dive into the slides. Before I dive into this, I just want to reiterate, thank you so much for being here. I think that artists are some of the most powerful, beautiful, exciting people in the world, and I am overjoyed to be here with you right now. So I'm going to start this presentation. Boom. Okay, so the reason you are here is, I won't presume, but I assume that we all have an interest in Photoshop and you want to be here because you saw an ad for Will It Blend? And the idea behind Will It Blend is, well, sometimes photographs, they have different lighting. Sometimes they're taken during different times of day. Sometimes they have poor detail. Maybe they're blurry. And Will It Blend is about, okay, how can we take sometimes 20, 30 might be a stretch, but how can we take a ton of different photographs that look totally different and put them together into a single image that feels believable, that feels real, that feels visceral, and you're like, wow, I'm feeling engaged by this. I'm feeling drawn in. I'm feeling like I'm being immersed. And that is something that I think is so important, because what are we doing creating artwork if we aren't maximizing immersion? And because when we create immersion, other people can feel settled and good in the things that we can recreate, and they're also going to be engaged. So let's continue. Okay, so the agenda of this is I'm going to share a little bit about me. We're going to do a lesson, and then I have a special surprise that I'm excited to share with you later in this call. Okay, so I already told you a little bit, but I'm just going to nail it down. The goal of this workshop is that I'm going to demonstrate my secret techniques for combining photographs in a way that feels vivid, powerful, and real. I'm going to teach you how to use color, tone, contrast in a way that will change the way that not only your output looks, but the way that you approach artwork forever. And this is something that is so valuable that once you learn, you're not only not going to ever forget it, but you're going to understand the real power that you have as an artist when you learn. And by the way, this is called compositing. In case anyone hasn't heard that term, compositing basically means a bunch of things together. And so, for example, if we take a look at this artwork on this slide right here, this is a bunch of different photographs put together. There's like the green mountains, there's the galaxies, the ground, the square that is glowing, the astronaut. All of these are separate layers, and you're here to learn how do we put these all together in a way that feels real. So let's continue. So who the heck am I? My name is LumiFantasy. You can call me Jonathan, but people like me and my friends, they generally call me Lumi. And I'm a Seattle-based artist who creates vivid, surreal, dreamlike dreamscapes. So ultimately, I don't know if anyone here is a vivid dreamer, but I am, and a lot of the things that I create are directly inspired by the things that I see in my dream. And in fact, the colors that I use, these sort of vivid, oily, lacquered colors, are directly inspired by the way that things look in my dreams. And Michelle says, I love composites and use textures in my work as well. So excited to learn your method. Michelle, thank you so much. Rita says, make art quilts using photos. Exactly. It's like another way to explain it. There's so many ways that you can explain it, but it's like, imagine like we are building something out of Legos, but each Lego is a photo, and we're putting things together and creating something new and exciting out of these different pieces. So I'm really excited that you guys have shown up, and I'm going to keep talking. My work draws inspiration from natural, atmospheric, and even otherworldly landscapes, often evoking a sense of wonder, introspection, and emotional resonance. All of that to say that what's really important here is that we are capturing a feeling. And I'm a huge fan of that feeling of being absolutely swept into a scene. Like, it's almost like for a moment, my thoughts, they disappear, and I'm just engaged in the pure sensory joy of wherever I am. And so that is something I want to pass down to you guys. And I'm excited to continue this. So dreamscapes, I already told you a little bit about this. I'm an active dreamer. And one of the most bizarre and exciting and beautiful things that I've ever experienced is I often will lucid dream. And for anyone who isn't familiar with lucid dreams, basically it means that like you wake up in the dream and you understand that you're dreaming, and then you're able to like kind of control your body and sometimes the dream. And it's extremely surreal, and it's very exciting. And so what I'm looking to do when I create artwork is give people that feeling of like being awake within the dream. And so as you can probably tell, just even so far, I'm someone who's interested in artwork that is otherworldly, strange, but undeniably beautiful, undeniably sensory, something where you're being drawn into some new energy. And I love that. I love novelty. Let's continue. All right, let's get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start sharing my screen. Un momento. Okay, boom. Okay, you guys should see this. You guys will see me, and I'm about to hop into Photoshop, and we're going to see what this has all been about. I'm excited. Okay, boom. I am now sharing my screen, and I'm going to double check to make sure that you guys can see. Yes, you can. Okay, beautiful. Okay, let's take a look at some beautiful photographs. Again, the concept that we are going for is we want to show what it looks like if someone was surfing on the Aurora Borealis. We have our surfer right here. We have all these beautiful photographs of the Aurora Borealis, which is like, I always wondered why does it look like that? How do we have that beauty in the sky? And I wondered, and it's something to do with like the electromagnetism of the earth and the atmosphere and something. I just find that so exciting. So basically, when we're beginning a composite, we need to choose which photograph we're going to start with. And I really like this image right here because to me, this looks like waves, almost like, I don't know, like someone is surfing the waves. And my thought was, why don't we actually flip this upside down? So I'm going to convert this to a smart object. I'm going to make doubly sure that I'm sharing my screen because I want you guys to have an amazing experience. So I'm going to go ahead up here and I'm going to go to image and I'm going to click flip canvas vertical. We're going to see what we're working with. Okay, I can already start to see how someone could be sliding down these almost like they're skiing or like snowboarding. I'm going to hit C, which is basically C for crop. And I'm going to, first I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And I'm going to expand this because ultimately the aspect ratio I'm looking for is roughly more or less Instagram size, which is 4:5. My thought was, what if I flipped the Aurora Borealis upside down and then I don't know, erased under it? I'm curious what that would look like. So I'm going to the brush tool. And for anyone that is unfamiliar with masks, imagine like you're cutting photos out of a magazine and you want to put them together into a single image. Well, how do you tell Photoshop which parts you want to be visible and which parts you don't? We're not using real scissors here. We're using a computer, so this is important. And so what we do is, I'll go ahead and delete this. If you come down here, this right here, and by the way, this is an underutilized part of Photoshop that is very important. These are adjustment layers. We're going to get into that later. Don't worry about that. But if I click on this, I create a mask on this layer. And what I'm going to do is with a soft edged brush, I'm going to erase this and I'm going to see if we can fulfill the thesis of this call, which is will it blend? We're going to try taking all these photographs and putting them together and create a really cool cosmic scene. So I'm going to go ahead and erase, and we might need adjustment, we might not, but I just want to begin with that. And then I want one for the background because I want the person to be like surfing in the upper atmosphere or something. That would be so sick. Okay, I think I'm going to do this one. I'm going to Control C, Control V, paste. Okay, already you can see that we're putting things together and I don't know, a scene is emerging. I'm going to convert this to a smart object. Converting things to a smart object basically allows you to, rather than destructively edit a photo, you can come back and I'll just demonstrate really quickly. So I made that photo bigger, but what if I wanted to make it smaller again? Well, when something is a smart object, you don't really have to worry about that at all because it's always going to make it the highest resolution that it can be. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to hit Command T for free transform. I'm going to try adjusting this a little more, see if we can get things. You know what we should do? I think we should select this guy. Okay, so talking about masks like earlier, in order to put these different things together, we need to cut them out from their background. And there's all sorts of stuff going on in this photograph. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit remove background and we're going to see how well it works. And ultimately we can come in here and cut it out with, for example, the polygonal lasso tool. But this is really the fastest way, and I want you guys to have the most efficient way in mind. And so I'm going to remove background. It might do a good job, it might not, but we're about to see. Remove background. Okay, so what I'm seeing is that we got a good amount of his background cut out, but for example, his board is totally missing. And I'm going to hit here, disable layer mask. And I'm going to re-enable that so you can see what's happening. Okay, so we need that board back. Bro, please give me my board back. I need that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit disable layer mask and I'm going to create a selection of this board so I can bring it back. And so I'm going to come up here to the polygonal lasso tool. And polygonal lasso tool is basically you just click, boom, boom, and the edges of it is a straight line. There are other things in here, like for example, the magnetic lasso tool. You can do cool stuff like that, but you might not think that straight lines are the best, but I promise you, in like 98% of the cases, even if you're going around a rounded surface, polygonal is your best friend. So what I'm going to do is, you guys saw that his board was missing from the layer. And what I'm doing is I'm basically using scissors to cut out this. And I'm going to say, hey, mask, bring this part of the image back. I'm going to show you how to do it. But first we need to select this. And honestly, especially when we're this zoomed in, being perfect isn't always necessary. I mean, for the perfectionists in the chat, I know you're going to do the most amazing selection every time, and I applaud you. However, sometimes you don't really notice a difference. But if it does make a difference for you, then go all out. So basically, I'm just using my scissors or a polygonal lasso tool to go around this snowboard so I can bring it back and paint it back into the image. And, you can be perfect, you can be not, but you'll see how much of a difference it makes being perfect versus imperfect. Okay, so I double clicked and this has completed the selection. Okay, so what I'm going to now do is I'm going to re-enable this mask. And now I need to go into the brush tool, and as you can see, black is saying, okay, if something is black on this mask, I want it to be hidden. If it's white, I want that to be seen. And as you can see, we have the outline of him or her, I actually don't know, right here. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to select white. By the way, if you ever want to switch these colors really quickly, you can just hit X, boom, 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 X, white, black. And I want white because I want the snowboard to show up. So I'm going to click and I'm going to drag, and boom. We're literally there already, and we can begin importing this into our document. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the Move tool. Boom. And I'm going to bring him in here, or her, this person, this snowboarder. Okay, so this is interesting. We're already sort of getting a nice composition, and we can see there's nice movement, sort of these lines of light that are really beautiful. I also thought, wouldn't it be nice if there were stars in the background? So I went to my stars and I'm going to copy and paste. Okay. So I'm going to convert this to a smart object, and I'm going to try to make this bigger. And we're going to see exactly how cosmic we can make this scene. So as you can see, the star layer, whichever layer is at the top of your layer palette is what is on top. We put it right behind the snowboarder, then it's right there. But if we put it behind this foreground, we're sort of getting an interesting layering effect. So I'm going to come up here to this area, which is called blending modes, and I'm going to try and blend these stars with the background, and we'll see how we're doing. Okay, already that looks pretty good. Wow. I'm starting to think maybe this was a good idea. Okay, let's talk a little bit about adjustment layers. So adjustment layers, as the name would suggest, are layers that you use to adjust other things in the scene. So I'm going to come down here. These are all of our different adjustment layers. And I'm going to select brightness and contrast. And I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to click create clipping mask. And what that's going to do is we're going to have this little arrow right here. And then this clipping mask is going to be directly applied to our star layer. Again, this is our star layer, and we put it in screen blending mode, which allowed it to blend into the background. And basically what that means is that only the light parts are showing through. So I'm actually going to mess around with these stars, see if we can get anything more interesting. Maybe in line with movement. That looks pretty good. Can make sure we're past the edges on this. Okay, so back to this brightness and brightness contrast layer. So we've created a clipping mask, and we're feeding that into the star layer. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down the brightness of the stars. Okay. That puts more focus on our snowboarder. I'm going to bring this back to 0. If you double click on these, they return to 0. I'm going to hit contrast. I can see that's basically making the brights brighter and the darks darker. And I think I'm going to want a combination of these. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now we're getting to the most important part here. Right now, this snowboarder does not look like he's in this scene at all. Again, it could be a she. We're still in mystery. It's a mystery, and unfortunately, we're here to understand, will it blend? Not the identity of the snowboarder. So I can see that my background is pretty dark, and it's a night scene, and I remember that the snowboarder was from a day scene. So if I want it to make it look like it's at night, I might come down here and create a brightness adjustment layer, and I might bring the brightness down because, you know, if you darken the day, it turns into night, right? So let's see, that's starting to blend a little bit more. However, right now, the colors of the Aurora Borealis, I mean, if you look at these scenes, generally the green is all over the other parts of the scenes. It's like literally right there. And so what I'm looking for in order to blend this is for him or her to, I'm just going to say him. I hope that's okay. I'm going to put I want him to absorb some of the colors in the background. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to create a curves adjustment layer. And I'm just going to take a quick moment to, someone said white, I think it was Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, she said white reveals, dark conceals. And I don't know if I read that right, but I got the message, and you are dead right, or you're alive right. Okay, that doesn't matter. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come into curves, and this is so important. Curves is something that we use to adjust lighting, right? We can see that reflected here. Got to delete these, and now I'm going to show you the secret. What if we could bend just particular aspects of light? What if we just wanted to have more red light in here? What would that look like? What if I wanted it to be more teal? It's a good question as well. What if I want to up the blues? What if I want to get rid of the blues and move towards yellow? I'm already starting to see that that yellow is matching, like, for example, the yellow in this Aurora Borealis. I'm just so pleased to be right here. I love doing this. Okay, so this literally is your secret. You can adjust the colors in an image, and this is how you blend it. So, for example, you have a light source in your scene, and you want something to blend. Well, it would probably need to absorb the light and color of what's around it, right? Given that if it's reflective. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring down the midtones. So I'm bringing in more yellow, like for example in this Aurora. Then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to boost the greens. And as you can see, it's starting to take on the appearance of these Aurora. And I'm going to go ahead and make a small adjustment. So I want him to be like kind of surfing in there. And I'm noticing some of the mountain is still there. So I'm going to brush that away really quick. Okay, I'm starting to like that. You know what? And okay, because this is the most important thing, I really want to reiterate what I just did. So the snowboarder was part of a day scene, which is like sunlight, warmer colors. We're in sort of like a greenish, bluish, dark area. And so if we want the snowboarder to blend in with the background, we need him to like be affected by the light and the color temperature of what's around them. So I'm going to show you again what I did. I created a brightness adjustment layer and I made it a clipping mask. I brought down the brightness. And then I came in here with a curves adjustment layer. And again, it's right here. You see RGB, that's red, green, blue. You can change the color. Up here is more green, down here is more pink. We put more green in here. We're going to bring a little blue down here, so we're green and yellow because these are the colors of the Aurora. We're already getting a really good match. And so I had one more Aurora photo in here that I thought maybe we could do something with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste it back here. And I just like that Aurora photo because it had just such nice motion to it. And so I'm going to try and upscale this. As you can see, the stars are shining on top of it because, as was pointed out, when you put something in screen blending mode, it reveals the light. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with the stars. I'm going to put this in screen blending mode. And sometimes we put things in to test them, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. The important thing is that if you want to be the most powerful version of you, you have to experiment. And experimenting means trying new things. And sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. Okay, ooh, interesting. What if like the Aurora was like the tail on the snowboard? That would be sick. Okay, I'm going to try that out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a mask on this Aurora. I'm going to try getting rid of some of the background by painting black on the mask. And you can see that reflected right here. The black means it's invisible. The white means it's visible. Actually, I'm going to think that person might have been talking about mask rather than screen blending mode. Thank you for your patience. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is turning into something interesting. I'm really liking the way that it's almost like the Aurora is the trail of the snowboard, like it's snow. I'm also noticing, I'm just going to show you really quick, that this has more blue than this, meaning this is like more green, more yellow, and this is just more green and blue. So we need to up the amount of yellow in this. I'm going to bring that back to where it was. Boom. I put that back in screen blending mode. So I'm going to do the same thing I did before that we used for blending. So when you're blending, you want everything to kind of tie well together. It feel like a part of a really continuous scene. So I'm going to come up here, create a curves adjustment layer, right click on the adjustment layer and go create clipping mask. And then that makes sure that this adjustment only affects this image right here. So I'm going to do the trick that we learned earlier, which is I'm going to bring this yellow in. Okay, so this might seem like a subtle thing, but I really want to underscore this. Small changes make a big difference in compositing. And so, again, we're affecting this image right here, the one that is more blue and green rather than yellow and green. We're going to bring down the blues, blue light, more towards yellow. And you can see that these are almost now like a direct match. They look so similar. So this is a lot about blending. And so what I want to do is really quickly, this is where we are. I want to see if anyone has any questions really quick. Does anyone? Jose says clipping mask. That is basically... I'm going to stop sharing my screen for a second. So clipping mask, meaning that it's like if you have a pitcher of water and you are adding Kool-Aid to it, well, you're not adding Kool-Aid to the counter with the pitcher, you're adding Kool-Aid to the water. A clipping mask is saying, actually, I just want to add the Kool-Aid or whatever it is, the curves adjustment layer, the brightness adjustment layer. I only want to add that to that one particular layer. And maybe it would be useful for me to create a distinction there. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about because I think Jose has a very good question. Well, what happens if we don't make something a clipping mask? If I take this curves, it's going to affect everything under it. Do you see what that means? But the reason that we want to feed it into a particular layer is so that it will only affect that. We're making selective adjustments. So like, for example, if I feed this curves layer into the snowboarder, it's only going to make that part brighter. But if, for example, I release this clipping mask, it's going to affect everything under it. It's all about making selective adjustments. And maybe that's something that I should underscore about compositing is that you are making small adjustments to a lot of different layers to bring them all towards each other more and more with lighting. For example, like the brightness adjustment that we made to the snowboarder and the color adjustments that we made to the snowboarder. They are now more reflecting the aurora around it. And you know what? Since we're here, why don't we even make the stars green? Just so you can see what that would look like. And maybe it'll look bad, maybe it'll look off, like maybe it'll look good. We don't know until we try. So I created an adjustment layer and I fed it into the stars. I'm going to try boosting the greens. Okay, we can see that the stars are now more green. And maybe that's the look that you're looking for. For me personally, I think I liked it the way it was before because we had some variety in color, which I feel is important. We don't, you know, maybe you want really overpowering green, but if I want to have some sense of contrast, something other than green, so some people have a place to rest and see some variety, that's going to be really important. So I'm going to go back to our call. Let's see here, we're in the chat. I'm going to continue with my presentation. Before we move on, does anyone have any questions? We have time left and I can answer questions if you have them. So I'm going to wait, or I'm not going to wait, I'm going to keep talking, but is anything unclear or maybe that I can emphasize or make, to use a fancy word, elucidate for anyone here? Because I'm here because I want to provide you value, and I feel that this is a way of approaching artwork that is so important. And so I'm not saying that people have questions, so I'm going to, okay, here we go. Jose says, what do you do when the clipping mask has white glow or looks pixelated from the background? Okay, so we're going to dive, I'm going to share my screen really quick. And then Michelle says, can you explain smart objects more? So we're going to address Jose's question, and then we're going to address Michelle's question about smart objects, explaining them more. So I'm going to turn back my screen sharing on. Boop, boop, boo, boom. Okay, here we go. So if, for example, we have basically our adjustment was imperfect on the snowboarder. Like if it wasn't a very good selection from the background, well, we would do what we did earlier, which is, let's take, for example, if there's a small amount of left on the selection. Well, I would come in here with the polygonal lasso tool, and I would come and I would select the edge of my guy, and so that it creates a clean line. And you're about to see this in real time. Obviously, this could be more perfect, but right now we are talking about speed. And you can see. So I'm going to double click, boom. And then what I do is on the mask, I paint black where I don't want there to be anything. And you see our selection was sort of the, was letting Photoshop know where we want to create that cut. So again, I selected around the parts. For example, if you had something that was, pixelated, you would probably want to figure out a way to cut out that part of the image. Or you could come in here and try and do some generative AI stuff, but we're not going to do that for this particular call. But basically, you find a way to get rid of the problem areas and maybe mask them out or cover them up with something else. And Michelle was asking about smart objects. So, for example, I'm going to rasterize this layer. Smart object is all about saying, I want to preserve as much detail in this image as I possibly can. And so for a moment, I'm just going to overlay this. So right now, this is not a smart object, this layer right here. And I'm going to make it small, really small. Okay, well, what happens if I'm like, hang on, I actually didn't want that small, I wanted it bigger. Well, if I now put that back up, dang, that actually still does look pretty good. But point being that a smart object basically preserves the detail. it basically will show the highest resolution version of the image possible. And for example, boom, 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 I'm gonna undo that. You can come in here and you can double click on a smart object. And that layer is preserved all by itself, and any adjustments that we make over here will be reflected in the overall composition. Jose asks, do I upscale? Yes, okay. You know what? Actually, okay, everyone, I'm going to quickly share my end screen. Here are a couple tools for upscaling your images. And this one is called Upscale, which is free, and the other is, I think, Topaz Labs, and it's expensive. But I would just say, check out Upscale. It is free, and it is very good, and it is typically what I use, even though I own the Topaz Labs. So, okay. Well, you guys, I now want to share something with you. I'm going to go back to my slides, start my presentation, boom. Okay, so we went through our lesson and talked a lot about compositing and the different ways that we can bring things more towards a coherent visual identity. So everything that you saw right here, I dove into it somewhat on a superficial level, an important, valuable level, but I have a course which dives into this so much deeper. And there's over 20 video lessons, and it talks about being an artist. It talks about what it's like being an artist in this sort of new age where things are developing. And I show you step by step how to do what I just showed you, and like the method behind it, the thinking behind it, in a way that I can't really show you on a quick call. And it's divided into modules. Modules just means chapters. And you're going to discover, and with practice, and basically I show you how to create a bunch of different sample lessons, because you see what it looks like when someone is putting these things together on the fly, but with the methodology behind it. And that's something so important to understand, is that artwork, it's not just about, like, you know, maybe if you're painting, it's about brush to canvas or whatever, but even people who are painters, especially like the most amazing painters in the world who are like have photorealism down, they don't just go into things putting a brush directly to the page. They have a methodology. They talked about like what we talked about, which is basically the way that how skin absorbs light, how skin absorbs color. And so we dive a lot more into the methodology and thinking behind that in a way that is basically a course. And so I've created this because I really want to pass down this knowledge to other artists, because when you know this stuff, you not only become more valuable and more confident, but you also see opportunities that maybe weren't there before. With the course, you get a solid foundation following a structured approach. Basically, we break this down into a direct, repeatable method. And so when you understand the repeatable method, you're not referring back to the course. You're thinking about, how do I do this myself? And you're able to move forward creatively with confidence. And the most powerful artist is a confident artist. This course is perfect for beginner artists. And even if you're someone who is advanced and has industry experience, you're still going to get a lot of value and learn a lot of new things. And you learn wherever you want. You can watch it on a phone. You can watch it on your tablet. You can watch it on a plane, providing you have Wi-Fi. And I also have a private community for learners, because chances are, if you have a question, I'm so grateful for the questions from Jose and Michelle. If you have that question, other people are wondering about it too, and you can ask in this community, and you'll have an opportunity to have that answered in my private community once you join the course. You have lifetime access. This isn't a subscription. You literally buy the course once and you get it forever. You can access it from any device, and you have a 14-day money-back guarantee. And, you know, I wanted to share this with you because my course is normally literally basically $300, but because you showed up for this call, you can get an extra 20% off, but only today if you use the code Dreamscapes. And I'm going to go ahead and you're going to see the offer appear, and you're going to have a link. And by the way, other people who are not on this call do not have this link. So you should see, okay, boom. I just published the offer. You should see an opportunity to sign up for the class. Again, I recommend you screenshot this, the 20% off code for Dreamscapes. And basically you're getting not just what you're getting half off the course because you joined this call, but you're also getting an additional 20% off if you order, for example, tonight using the code Dreamscapes. And this offer is only good for 72 hours. And honestly, the difference between who I used to be as an artist and who I am now, feeling confident in my skills and my ability to composite is completely different. And I want everyone in the world to be able to experience that. And so we're reaching the end of this call. Before we go, is there any way that I can be a resource to you? Do you have any last questions? If you have questions, put them in the chat. And again, thank you so much to everyone who participated. And I see Jan says, again, if it's Jean or Jan, I don't know how to say it. Maybe I'm saying the J wrong. I'm so grateful that all of you showed up, and I'm really grateful for your attention. I had a great time, and sharing art is some of the most enjoyable thing I think you can do as a human being. So Jan says, I need to purchase Photoshop first because there are so many things and elements that just does not allow. She says your artwork is amazing. So basically what she is referencing is that there's a version of Photoshop called Photoshop Elements, and it's basically sort of like a less featured version. And basically you okay, I'm going to finish what I'm saying, but people are asking in the chat where they can see my artwork, so I'm going to put a link. Literally, come join me on Instagram, because if you enjoy my energy, you're going to love what I post every day. And you can see my hundreds of pieces of artwork. I just put a link in the chat. And okay, so about Photoshop Elements, you are going to want to upgrade to the basically the full featured Photoshop, because you have so many more tools and you can do things so much more directly and easily. Jose says, thank you so much. Jose, you are so welcome. I really have appreciated your participation in this call. It means a lot. Jules says, I tried a lot of this in Ibis Paint. Isn't Ibis an Egyptian god? Am I wrong about that? I don't know. You have actually introduced something to me that I didn't know, which is a program called Ibis Paint. And man, if you want to see, this is just one piece. Literally, I created on the fly a snowboarder surfing on the Aurora Borealis. I've literally created over 500 pieces of artwork. And I'm going to see here. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Or not sharing my screen. But basically, I'm going to stop my presentation really quick because we are wrapping up. Michelle says, thank you so much. This was great. We'll have to think about the course. You go ahead and do that. And thank you so much for following me on Instagram. Does anyone have any other questions that I can answer? And I just want to reiterate, thank you so much for being here. Learning about art is just one about the most enjoyable and rewarding things you can do in life. And there are so many different types of artwork. There's cooking, there's making music. And we're here because we love expressing ourselves, and we love taking our ingredients and putting them together in a really special and exciting way. For anyone that wants to stick around, I'm going to show you really quick some of these cards. These are artwork that I've created. And I encourage you that if you have something that you're interested in, that you love and that you enjoy, find a way to combine it with other forms of artwork. Like, for example, if you are a cook, well, maybe there's a way that you can show a movie and cook at the same time. I mean, people already do this. Turn it into an experience. Have a movie night and have it be directly inspired by what's in the movie. That's something we did when I was a kid, and I thought it was awesome. Spacewalk. I actually didn't mention this, but I've done this for so many different companies. I probably should have led with this, but I've done work for Adobe, which is literally the company that makes Photoshop. I've literally created artwork for NVIDIA, G Fuel, Billie Eilish, Marshmello, Porter Robinson. Again, that's a piece of art that I've made. And I also sell canvas prints of my work. But I just want to say that learning how to express yourself, and I know these are probably reversed. I'm seeing that in the feed that these are reversed. We're just going to pretend that these are flipped. And for the artwork, it doesn't matter. And you can create whatever is in your heart, and you can do anything that you put your mind to. And that's the huge reason that I'm here, is because I want everyone to understand that, because I feel good. I feel good when I see people with their highest level of power. I feel good because I know what it feels like to feel discouraged. And I see Jose says, please share a recording of this webinar. It was super helpful. Look, I can't make a guarantee, but I'm going to talk to my team. And I'm going to say, is there any way that we can share that? And I can't guarantee anything, but I will say I will be doing more webinars. And if you follow me on Instagram, you're going to see what that looks like. And you're going to be reminded of the things that I do. And you're going to have amazing art in your feed. And man, I've enjoyed our time so much together. This is really fun and an amazing way to spend a night. Again, I'm hearing, please share a recording of the webinar. And I'll see what we can do. Again, I make artwork. Isn't it so fun to create worlds of your own imagination? Isn't that some of the most exciting things that you can do? Because, like, I don't know, sometimes life feels a little bit like a lucid dream. I've probably gone through these like twice, but I truly love artwork. This stuff sets my soul on fire. I love it. It gets me excited. Because, I mean, when you have an idea and you're able to express that in a way that's powerful, like we learned today. Oh my gosh, my hand is so big. It's such an amazing feeling. You wake up, oh my gosh, I have an idea. I want to express that. And expressing yourself is not only fun and exciting and impressive, but it's also helps with your emotions. It helps you self-regulate, which is a huge part of this game. And I love artwork and I love creation, and it has been such a pleasure being here with you today. Jan says, Merry Christmas to all. Merry Christmas to all. Oh my gosh. Maybe you know what? I should have got a Christmas tree and like secretly hid it in the Aurora server. That would have been so funny. Michelle says, this is how I feel about Milky Way photography and my texture art. You know, Michelle, if you follow me on Instagram, message me your stuff. And in fact, if anyone is on this call, feel free to DM me your stuff. I'll take a look. Yeah. Christmas is pretty universal, right? It's not universal in necessity, but it's what I meant is like it's globally celebrated. Whereas, for example, in Halloween, other parts of the world don't celebrate that. I just want to remind you that you are powerful, that you are lovely just the way you are, that you have the ability to shift your life and the perceptions of others with the way that you express yourself. And each of us has an amazing power that serves the end of human liberation. And what I mean by that is that you have something that you can do within your power to help people feel confident, to help them feel good, to help them feel safe, to help them feel inspired, entertained, all these positive states. You have that within your ability. And I'm here because I want more people to understand that. I want to understand that you have that power, and I want to see that power out in the world, and I want to see other people affected by the things that you create in a positive and beautiful way. Because there are plenty of things in the world that we could focus on that are dreary and sad and depressing and scary. But an artist is saying, being an artist is about saying, actually, maybe I have a different perspective. Maybe the artwork is about the horrors, but you also have an opportunity to see the world in a way that is true to you. And a lot of being an artist and practicing your craft is understanding how you feel about things and what is important to you, and saying to other people, hey, come check out what I'm doing because this is important. You need to see this. And so we're wrapping up probably in the last 2 minutes. I'm really grateful for everyone that showed up. And I'm wishing you a lovely holiday or break or whatever you're experiencing, because I know sometimes the holidays are a dark place for some people. But I want to let you know that you are not alone, and that you are powerful, and that you are beautiful, and that I'm excited that you were here and that we got to share this time together. Does anyone have anything else to say in the chat? I'm about to wrap this up. I'm truly grateful for this opportunity that we've had to spend time together and learn about Photoshop in my webinar called Will It Blend? And I know that voice was extra. There are still people in this call. Hey, say something in the chat. I'll say something back. Because we're getting real close to wrapping this up. Just about 2 more minutes. I'm feeling good. Jewel says, glad I saw your ad. I'm glad you did too. Thank you for showing up. It really means a lot to me. And I'm so grateful that we were able to spend time together under the premise, under the, not artifice, what's the word? Under the banner of art and self-expression. Because again, this is some of the most important stuff I think we can possibly consider as human beings. Real AM says, thank you. Real AM, you are so welcome. And I'm grateful that you showed up. Thank you for showing up and for your input in the chat and for helping me feel seen and for learning about artwork, this amazing capability that human beings have. All right, guys, we're in the last 60 seconds. What do we do? Do we start an entire new webinar? No, I'm not going to do that. I just feel good. Talking about creation has me feeling good, and I love putting things together and creating something that wasn't there before. It's I don't know. I think that's maybe human beings. Like that's an integral part of our species and DNA is like creating, using tools to put things together. It's honestly an amazing feeling and so rewarding, and it's therapeutic as well. Like Photoshop has helped me through a lot of difficult times and helping me understand how I feel, let alone anyone else understanding me. It's been so helpful and so empowering, and I just love it. Okay, guys. We're in the last moments. I know that I think other people are in other parts of the world, but in America, we're wrapping things up for the day. It's nighttime. So I want to say that you are important. You are lovely. I'm excited that you're here, and I love that you showed up. And I hope that I see you again. And it's been a pleasure.